Alex Jones might be trying to hide money to avoid having to pay damages to the Sandy Hook families he very clearly defamed. Now, after the defamation cases that he lost, and after we heard about the rulings from various judges who say that he has to pay both punitive and compensatory damages, he started moving money around. Real suspicious. So we'll get to those details on exactly how he might be trying to hide his money. But before we do, this is how much he owes. It's a lot, okay? Courts have awarded the Sandy Hook families nearly 1.5 billion with a B in damages against Jones, including 45.2 million in a Texas case in August and 965 million in a Connecticut case 2 months later. On November 10th, the judge in the Connecticut case ordered Jones to pay an additional $473 million in punitive damages, including $323 million for legal fees. Jesus Christ, man, those legal fees, real pricey. Now, how is Alex Jones potentially trying to hide money? Well, number one, we had already shared with you that he had filed for bankruptcy. And typically when corporations or wealthy individuals file for bankruptcy, it's a way to avoid having to pay damages to people they victimized. In addition to that, as the potential for damages mounted, Jones began moving millions of dollars out of his company, Free Speech Systems, and into companies controlled by himself, friends, or relatives. The transfers potentially put those funds out of reach of the Sandy Hook plaintiffs. Okay, so let's get to some specific numbers here, and this is how it works. This is how the cookie crumbles. So between August of 2020 and November of 2021, Free Speech Systems signed promissory notes, essentially IOUs, for $55 million to cover what it said were past debts to a company called PQPR Holdings that Jones owns with his parents. PQPR, which is managed by Jones's father, a dentist, had bought tens of millions of dollars in supplements for Jones that he then sold on his show. And the bulk of his revenue, the bulk of his money comes from selling those supplements, okay? Now, this is where it gets really good, because in order to, let's say like through the bankruptcy process, they're looking into where the money went, right? Where's the money, what happened to the assets? And so he's got to make up a story about how he's been paying workers like an astronomical amount, right? That's where the money went. So let's give you some examples. This year, this is like the worst lie ever. This year, Jones started paying his personal trainer. That's it, that's all I have to say. $100,000 a week to help ship supplements and other merchandise, a Free Speech Systems attorney said in court. A company managed by Jones's sister and listed as a supplier or vendor was paid almost $250,000, $240,000, financial records show. So through the bankruptcy filing, there will be an investigation to determine what assets he owes, what assets he has, and more importantly, what I'm most concerned about, whether the promissory notes to PQPR and other transactions are legitimate, including the $100,000 transactions to his personal trainer, a week, by the way, $100,000 a week. He was allegedly paying his personal trainer $400,000 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the most obvious case of trying to protect your money by moving it out of places that the court can reach that I've ever seen. So now it's not my role to adjudicate the case, it's the judge, et cetera, to do it. But man, if they can't get that money back, that means anybody can hide their money and they can assume people is irrelevant because you can just move it in the most brazen way. So why do I say brazen? Look, he said that he discovered that he had $55 million in debt to a company owned by his dad and him. He's like, I don't have the money. It's because, and why dead? Why? I want you guys to understand that. Because when Infowars goes bankrupt, and there is an upside of that, which I'll explain in a second. When they go bankrupt, all the creditors then come and say, okay, we want the money that they have. right? So one, you got to move the money out, but two, you have to be a creditor, right? So the people who sued him are a creditor, but they're an unsecured creditor. They actually have to get behind the line to people who the company owes money to. And so here Alex Jones is saying, good news, they have to get behind me and my dad because the company owes me money that I just discovered. I just found $55 million in receipts the other day. Now, to be fair to Alex Jones, half of this was done originally during his divorce proceedings. So he's trying to hide the money from his wife originally. That's when he first discovered like 20 some odd $million in debt that he had for himself.
Yeah, so he actually launched I keep mixing up this.
PQPR.
PQPR, he actually launched that back in 2013 as the divorce proceedings were beginning.
Yeah, and every time he gets in legal trouble and he has to move money, he discovers another $20 million that he owes himself.
What a coincidence.
Oh, look at that. I owe myself the money in a company that can't be touched, as opposed to the company that you're trying to take money from. Like, this is a joke. I mean, if you allow this, then suing people is totally irrelevant. They could just move their money to a company where they owe themselves, right?
You just start, you have a shell company, some LLC or whatever, that you owe money to. That's
one of the things he discovered he owed himself was a day before a ruling came in. A day before the ruling. Come on, this is so obvious. He's barely trying. He's almost like rubbing their face in it. I'm moving the money, I'm doing things that are illegal.
He told the courts that he has a personal trainer. Like, look, I know people are gonna get mad at me, but like he's not even trying. You get what I'm saying? Like you gotta come up with a believable lie.
And you paid your personal trainer $100,000 a week and you still look like that, brother? Okay, at least I don't have that excuse. Okay, so when you say I'm giving $100,000 a week to your personal trainer, that's like saying to the judge, yeah, I'm looking to rob the people that just got the settlement from you. And I think you, judge, are a joke, so I'm messing around with you, okay? And look, guys, remember all the money, by the way, is in the supplements. So they're also moving the supplements around to a couple of shell companies. I don't want you to lose track of what the supplements are. They're for your penis. They're penis supplements.
Some of them, yeah.
No. The big money maker, the money shot, if you will, okay, is the penis supplements. That's where he makes the great majority of his money. Some of it is like brain pills, which is even sadder, okay? But like, so when you see an Alex Jones fan, understand what they went to Alex for.
Oof. Oh my God, that is such a devastating point, Uygur. That is so devastating.
He gets 2,000 to 3,000 orders a day.
Oh my God.
From people worried about their penises.
Guys, it's gonna be okay. Okay, you're fine. The pills are not gonna work, number one. Number two, it's the motion in the ocean, okay? Learn how to use it. Don't abuse it. Okay, don't be poisoning yourself with these hack pills.
And by the way, to be fair to the trainer, so he's involved in this scam, obviously. And so we'll let the courts decide, but who knows, maybe he's like the world's greatest trainer. Anyway, so
doubt it.
He's getting in on this. And so I think it was him that had the idea of like coming up with new scams, like iodine. That I forget if that's the one that turns you blue. There's a thing he sells.
Colloidal silver or something?
Yeah. And it literally turns you into Papa Smurf. I mean, not literally because you're not actually a Papa or a Smurf, okay? But you look like one. We showed a picture of a guy who looks just like Papa Smurf, okay?
Oh my God.
So he's having people turn blue, like shouting at their genitals, please get larger, right? That's how he makes all of his money. And then, so he thinks the court system is just as ignorant as his viewers. So he thinks, oh yeah, I'll give it to my trainer, they won't notice. I'll give it to myself and my dad, they won't notice, right? So judges, do we have a rule of law in this country or don't we? Well, that's what you're gonna decide in the Alex Jones case.
That's exactly right. I gotta give you just a few pieces of information because it's just so mind-blowing. So an accountant hired by Alex Jones calculated that Free Speech Systems had 79 million in liabilities at the end of May and only 14 million in assets, court records show. As a result,
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause you right there. Remember, the liabilities are the things he says he owes himself.
Yes.
And the 14 million is so low in assets.
Yeah.
Even though he's making nearly 100 million a year.
Yeah.
Because he's already taken the money out.
Now, let's fast forward to what he actually has in assets. This is the last graphic. In August testimony, an expert hired by the Sandy Hook families estimated Jones's net worth to be between 135 million and 270 million. Jones has conveniently disputed the plaintiff's estimations of his wealth, probably because he doesn't want to pay off the victims he defamed. He doesn't want to have to pay those damages. And again, we don't know how this is going to play out. He's definitely trying to hide his money, in my opinion. But what the Sandy Hook families are saying is, listen, we are willing to allow him to keep his money if he agrees, some of his money, if he agrees to stop his broadcasting career, to end his broadcasting. That's what they really want. And Alex Jones knows it, and he's like, I'm gonna fight like hell. They want to take me off the air. I'm not gonna let it happen. All right, well, let's see if you're gonna get away with hiding your money. Hopefully, the bankruptcy courts are a little more privy to your nonsense and don't let you do it.
Look, man, there's nothing wrong with being rich, and it's, if you sell brain pills and penis pills to get there, it is what it is. It's a free country, okay? But him pretending that he isn't is absurd. Like, you want to talk about a conspiracy? We know for a fact that he took out $61.9 million just for himself. Forget the shell companies, et cetera. And they say that about half of that was to pay taxes through these years. Okay, that makes sense, and we're fair. We're telling you half of it is for that. That still leaves $31 million that he's saying, oh, that's just bare necessities. 31 million is bare necessities, and you're claiming that you need money from your audience and they should send it right away because you're broke? Doesn't look like it.